Well, the sun is shining, the lockdown's nearly over, garden's dried out, so I thought it'd be a good time to do a review on my new tent, which is the Lanshan 1 Pro. I bought it from AliExpress the back end of last year. I've used it a couple of times now, so hopefully I can give a decent verdict on how it performs, and hopefully give some tips on what I found is the best way to use it. So without further ado, we'll dig straight in. As you can see, nice pack size, total weight. Now I bought the extra ground sheet for this as well, and the actual weight of that comes in at 980 grams, and the extra ground sheet's in there as well. Now my first top tip when you get it is to swap out the pegs, because they aren't very good. They're quite lightweight, but they're quite sharp on the end. I don't know if you can make that out. So when you're trying to push it in, especially hard ground, it's quite uncomfortable. Not too difficult to pull out, but yeah, didn't like them. So when I'm using this in the summer, I swap them out for the stakes off my Helm, Wild Country Helm 2 tent, which I used in the winter. So these are great, really easy to pull out, push in, very lightweight. Like I said, that's the extra ground sheet for it. I think all in it was about 140 quid from AliExpress, came within a few weeks. And you do have to seam seal it yourself as well. So we'll go in the garden and we'll have a go at setting it up. So here it all is, laid out ready to go. Got the pegs, you'll need 9 of those. This is the extra ground sheet, which obviously goes down first. I always buy one of these for my tents. Just nice to see where the footprint's going to go before you set up. Obviously we've got the main fly sheet and the walking pole, which you'll need as the main structure of the tent. So we'll set up the ground sheet first. That's the fly sheet done. Sorry, the ground sheet. Very easy. So now we'll put the fly sheet on and we'll just hook it onto the pegs. Always a good idea to have them at their longest length so you can tighten it up afterwards. Just makes it a lot easier to put the walking pole in. So the fly sheet's laid out and hooked onto the pegs of the lower ground sheet. So now we have to put the walking pole in. Now I set my pole at 127 centimetres. That will raise up the small bathtub inside and also give you maximum airflow, which will help with condensation, which I'll come on to in a little while. And you just need another peg then to secure it. One of my top tips I found is that with the best will in the world you're always on some sort of soft boggy ground wherever you pitch, so I always put a flat stone underneath, and it just helps to stop it from sinking into the ground overnight because it's under quite a bit of tension, and then that will stop the sagging, or help stop the sagging in the tent. I'm not going to do it today because it's just on the garden, but normally a nice big flat stone underneath is a good idea. So the inner part of the porch, as you can see, just hooks onto one of these, like so. It means then you can either have this door back, or you can clip this one on instead. Depending on which way the wind's going. That's quite a nice little feature. Bit fiddly if it's too tight though, which is why it's good idea to set it up quite loose to begin with. So now we tighten everything up. I'll suggest just doing just a little bit at a time. So there we go. Just gone round tightening the little straps just a bit at a time. It's getting a nice even tautness around. Obviously you've still got the guidelines to peg out, which will add to the overall strength of the tent, especially in high wind. Not essential, but more importantly it'll give you just a little bit more room inside because it'll pull everything out. I found it's really good in high wind. Sheds the wind really well. Very strong. So also with a tent you get one of these. You can need to seam seal the tent. It's a little syringe with a very fine nozzle on it, which just helps you to direct the seam seal right into the seams and get a good watertight finish. I bought some of that, which I'm sure other seam sealers are available. And I just took the top off and siphoned it out. And then you just use that very carefully, very slowly, run it down the seams as you go. It takes about an hour to do the whole tent. So looking at the inside of the tent, as you can see at the bottom, a little loop around the bottom of your walking pole. So this is the mesh door, which is basically the whole of the side, and this is a single skin tent, so there's no inner apart from this. And setting the pole at slightly higher, you can see it creates a bit of a bathtub effect with the ground sheet, and then you've got mesh around the outside which allows for increased airflow. And setting it higher, the airflow does reduce condensation, which, like any tent, is an issue. One of the reasons I bought this particular tent is because it does have a lot more room. It's a bit longer. As you can see, this is my Trekology mat. This is 190 centimetres. So it's about 6'3" in old money. And as you can see, there's plenty of room at either end. Little pocket for storage as well. So providing you don't touch the inner sheet, if it's got condensation on it, you're absolutely fine. There's no issues whatsoever. And my top tip to make that happen, obviously these can slide around on a ground sheet, so I use one of these, which is one of those anti-slip mats you can get from IKEA for your rugs. It's like a silicone weave on it. It only costs a couple of quid, doesn't weigh anything, but it keeps the mat really stable, and you'll wake up in exactly the same position you went to sleep in. So far, not had any issues with condensation. I mean, the tent has been wet on the inside, but nothing's dripped. Had good airflow, and that was on a still night as well. So there's plenty of room inside. The head height's really good. There's a little hook to attach your light to as well. So yeah, lots of room, and a little porch area. So with the airflow, it really does help with the condensation. I'm sure there's lots of things people have said about the tent online. I really like it. I'm sure I've missed loads of things. These are just my opinions and what I found using it. So yeah, so far so good. Looking forward to using it when lockdown's finished. If I have missed loads of things and you've got any questions, just leave me a message and I'll come back to you. Thanks for watching.